So it's 8:30 on a random Tuesday night. As an entrepreneur, you've closed your laptop hours ago. Maybe you're sitting on the couch, maybe you're watching your favorite show with your family, but your phone is still in your hand and you're answering that one last email. You're returning that one last message. You're looking at your DMs and you're responding to those. Now, the reality is you've probably been taught to set office hours, right? Here's when you're working, and you've told everyone that. But somehow you find yourself still working around the edges, and the work keeps bleeding into all the different corners of your life. Well, it's because you likely have been taught how to maintain your office hours backwards. And that's exactly what we're going to be covering here today in this video. My name is Megan Sumrell. I'm a productivity and time management expert for women, and I teach women ways to plan their life and their business that fits the reality of their life. And I've built this based on over 20 years in the productivity, time management, and lean spaces. Now, I too run a business, and I managed to run an incredibly profitable seven-figure business only working 20 to 25 hours a week. And today, what I'm going to be sharing with you is one of the massive differentiators that has allowed me to honor that work schedule. The standard advice that you have likely been given as an entrepreneur to help you get that work-life balance that a lot of people talk about is they tell you that you need to establish your working hours, or sometimes called your office hours, right? You need to get on your calendar and decide when you're working. And you communicate this with people. Oh, I'm available, maybe between 9 and 4, or maybe I'm available from 9 to 12, and then again from 1 to 5. Whatever it is that you set, you've likely been told you need to set office hours. And so you're filling your calendar in between the office hours that you've set with meetings, appointments, work, etc. And what happens when we learn how to set office hours is we often still find ourselves working during times that were not established during our core office hours, right? I know I fell into this trap early in entrepreneurship as well. I had clearly defined office hours, yet I found I was still working in the carpool line, right? I'd be at the checkout line at the grocery store, pulling out my phone to be doing work. While I would close my laptop in the evening, I found myself with a tablet or phone on the couch, still responding to emails, still slipping in a few things here and there. So if you find that this is happening to you, here is what you need to change. Instead of focusing on your working hours or your office hours, it's time to flip it. And here's what I mean by that. Instead of deciding when you're working, I want you to focus on when are you not working? What are your non-working hours? When are you out of office? When you think about this, I want you to think not today, right? Because today you're probably working here and there all the time. Instead, I want you to think about what lifestyle do you want? When do you want to be off the clock with work? After dinner, do you want evenings to yourself? Maybe you want an hour every single day to take a break midday. Maybe you want time in the morning for personal things, for exercise, whatever, and maybe you don't want to be on the clock till 10 a.m. I want you to think about, when do you not want to be working instead of focusing on when you are? Because what needs to happen here is, instead of putting these kind of fences around your working hours, the problem is all those other ones have no boundaries. So instead, what we need to do is protect the time that you do not want to be working, so that your work is not bleeding into those hours. Once you've decided what your non-working hours are going to be, here's the most important part. Don't just decide it and keep it in your head. You need to put it on your calendar. If you're an entrepreneur, I'm sure you're using a digital calendar, whether it's a Google Calendar, iCal, whatever it is. I want you to go into that calendar and I want you to block off your non-working time. Create the appointments and label it non-working hours. All right, it gets an appointment on your calendar just like a client call would, just like a meeting would for work. And I want you to do it with this frame of reference here. This isn't so that your calendar is controlling every single part of your life. It's not so that your calendar is bossing you around. It's so that your calendar gets to serve a reminder to you that when maybe you're reaching for your phone, right, or you're looking at what you have going on for the day, it's reminding you, here's the boundaries for when you are not working. Even though you're going to put this on your calendar, right? Guys, I've been tempted when I was first establishing my non-working times. I was tempted to sneak back in there during my own like non-working hours, okay? But seeing it protected on my calendar every single day is what kept reminding me that the life I desired as an entrepreneur was not one where work was consuming it 24/7. Now, I know what you're already thinking is, well, what happens if? What happens if an email comes in? What happens if? Well, guess what? When you establish non-working hours, which means you're not looking at your phone, you're not on your computer, right? Maybe you want to start with evenings are yours, right? After dinner, you're not working anymore. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to put those devices out of your reach. No audible or visible notifications. Because guess what? Emails are going to come in. DMs are going to come in. But if you've already set the expectation with yourself that these are my non-working hours, so I'm not even going to look at it, then the temptation to jump in and respond is gone, right? Because chances are people aren't calling you at 8 p.m. and your phone's ringing and you're picking it up. You're in your emails, you're in your DMs, right? You're in your Slack channels. So if you create the boundary for yourself that you're not working during those hours, it means you're not looking at any of those applications, which is going to reduce the temptation to get just one more thing done. Now, here's what starts to happen for you when you start to honor your non-working hours. You get to be present, maybe at the dinner table or in the evening, or you get to have that bit of quiet and reset during lunch. Maybe you get to start your day in a way that serves you before others, right? Instead of having 4 tabs open in your brain at all times. It means you get to go to bed, not collapsing into it after you've sent that one last message, right? You get to go to bed with your brain calm. This is work-life harmony, not work-life balance. And work-life harmony in practice means that you get to be present, 100% fully present in whatever you're doing throughout your entire day. So if you have found that work is kind of slowly bleeding into every single part of your life, and you want to have that time where you are not working, this is the place to start. All right, so decide, what are your non-working hours? Go into your calendar and block them off. Create that appointment with yourself. Maybe even make it a different color and label it non-working hours. And then tomorrow, honor that boundary and see what changes in you. I promise it's going to be a very life-changing moment. Now, the first day you do it, you might be feeling a little anxious. But the next day when you sit down during your actual working hours and you see that the world didn't fall apart because you honored your non-working time, it's going to be incredibly freeing. Now, if you're watching this video here, you probably are a fellow entrepreneur, a business owner, right? And if you're thinking, this sounds great, Megan, but I still kind of feel like I'm the linchpin of every single thing in my business. Well, we've got a newly released Unblocked Business Bootcamp where we are introducing you to what we call the core framework here at the Pink Bee, which shows you the underlying infrastructure of how this business runs so efficiently, so profitable with very, very few hours. So if you want to go check out the Unblocked Business Bootcamp, we've got the link for you in the description below. Now, if something shifted for you here with this video today, and you're interested in learning more about some really pragmatic and practical time management and planning tips, make sure you subscribe to the channel here, and I'll see you in our next video.